2015.
It feels like it was 2003, man.
No, that was the year I was born.
Oh my god.
Stop, Jayda. Stop that right now.
And I think I kind of wrote it when I was at a point of like, you know, getting into the drinking culture kind of scene. This is me showing, I guess, as an artist, what's been going on in my personal life.
This is Feature Friday Plus, people. Welcome back. We are joined back with one of our favorite artists from the Philippines, Jayda.
Hey!
A stupid mistake to be loved. I'm drunk, I love you.
Jayda, man. Again, we were just talking before we started recording that I think the last time you joined us, you were 17.
Yes, I was. That was like 2021. Yeah, like
That's
a little bit before my
crazy.
birthday.
I think so. I think I recall talking about that on the podcast. I mean, like, it's insane how much maturity and how much your sound is so congruent at such a young age. Now I'm nothing but eager to talk about your new project, to be honest.
You've had quite a busy year, from what I can tell. Like,
I
you've been
have.
writing music, you've been acting, you've been doing everything.
That's right. Well, you're updated.
Well, listen, we follow you closely, girl. We support.
Right, of course. Well, thank you so much. But yeah, no, it's been such a busy year for me. Like you said, like I got into the acting world, but at the same time, like over the past 2 years, actually, ever since like even when we were chatting, I was already working on this specific project of, you know, music that I've always wanted to make. And that's, I guess, music that's a little bit different from what you guys are used to hearing from me. I guess like I've always called it in my mind the Jayda project. And, you know, that makes sense. It's basically kind of this thing that I've been working on with my co-writer and co-producer. His name is Casey Sullivan. He's from the US. He's from Boston. And, you know, we met like a couple years back, like back in 2020 when I was 17 in LA. And we've been working back and forth ever since, you know, both remotely and in person as well. But then like recently he moved back to Boston. So it's been a lot of remote work from all the way here in Manila. Like I record a lot of the vocals here in my studio. And yeah, so that's kind of like a little intro for what we're about to talk about today.
Yeah, definitely.
Big song. We should stop teasing it. It's a big track, and we really enjoyed it. I'm drunk, I love you.
Yes, that's right. Or
Very forward.
Yes.
I absolutely love the concept of a drunk love confession, as well as the misery of like a one-sided love confession too. I absolutely adore. It's such a catchy track. No, honestly, I absolutely love the concept of bittersweet pop. That's what I'm gonna call it, because that's exactly what it felt like. Talk to me about the whole concept and how you come up with the lyrics as well.
Right. Well, I guess like, so I wrote the song actually last year back in 2022. And I think I kind of wrote it when I was at a point of like, you know, getting into the drinking culture kind of scene, the party scene. And just kind of, I know it's like, what is
you're still so innocent, Jayda.
I know, right? No, a lot of things have happened since then. What can I say?
What can I say? What can I say? What can I say?
But yeah, as someone who, you know, just like started getting into it at that time and just having all of these new like experiences with friends and all, I think that's really kind of what inspired the song. And it just like really came together. It started with me on the piano and on my grand piano that I got like back in 2021. I have one downstairs and I was like jamming out. And then the concept just came into my mind because, like, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I've always been such a concept-based songwriter. Like, I've always, you know, before the lyrics, before the melody, I tend to have a concept of what I want to say in mind, because like at the end of the day, like I feel like with a song, if you know there was anything I'd say to like people aspiring to write songs, it's always important to kind of know what you want to say, because like that's what songwriting is all about. Like I feel like there's not necessarily a concept that's always 100% original, because we all go back to those universal themes of like love and heartbreak. But, you know, what makes us all different as songwriters is just how we say them. And then with this one, like, I really wanted it to feel really conversational. And I really wanted it to sound like the lyrics were like a drunk text. So it just really popped into my head. I started writing around that little phrase, I'm drunk, I love you. And I started out with the chorus, and then I had voice memos of it, and I sent it to my co-producer. We worked on it 100% remotely. So probably 99% of that track was all recorded here in this little studio setup that you see behind me.
Nice.
Yeah, that's how it like really began. I think it was also because like I remember, I think a few weeks before I had written that, like I had been getting drunk with my best friend. And then like we were just talking about like drunk calling people and thing like that. I just like I thought to myself, like being drunk is such a vulnerable and honest state to be in. Like I feel like alcohol is like it's like almost like a key to like an inner subconsciousness. Like it unlocks certain emotions, well, at least from my experience anyway. And I felt like, that's why like I use lyrics like liquid courage in the song, because that's literally what it is. Like it literally like gives some people, or kind of like the strength to kind of face their emotions and how they feel about certain things. And I'm a firm believer in drunk words speaks over thoughts. So that's how
I think there's a lot of no, definitely. I actually think the idea of letting go of the inhibitions without any thought of the repercussion is really what gives the alcohol such a different such an enticing thing. And I think from an artistic perspective, obviously taking your experiences and personally mine too into this whole idea of like taking those inhibitions out of the picture, what really truly lies behind that, it's really quite artistic in a twisted kind of way. And I kind of like it, because even though you're not completely in control because you're drunk, obviously, you have all this hazy memory. So like you're looking at the things that you want to say through like a rose-colored lens, if that makes sense. It's kind of cool. I like that.
I think you just described it perfectly. Like, like after a night out, or like after a night of drinking, like sometimes you think about it the next day, and like once like, you're back and kind of like your logical self, you'd think to yourself, what was I thinking?
What was that?
Like, exactly. But then like at the same time, like I don't know, as someone who's like navigating like, early stages of like young adulthood, I've realized that when I have like, not that you should be like dependent on it or anything like that, but like I think it's like for me, like I've really discovered a lot about myself after being drunk. So I feel like it's like one of the reasons why I also, I guess, chose this to be kind of the lead single of this like project and these next series of like singles is just because I've always looked at it as like a transitional single into introducing like a new kind of like era for myself as an artist, and like a new era of like honesty as well. Like I've always written from the heart, like it's no secret, but at the same time, like I feel like this is such a perfect way to kind of begin marking this chapter in my life.
What can we expect from this project though? You're talking about a new sound, a new genre, a new chapter to your artistry. What can we, if you can obviously talk about it, of course, but what can we expect?
Well, I think you can definitely expect a lot of songs that feel very like confessional in that sense, like still within the realm of IDILY, or I'm Drunk, I Love You, but at the same time, like I feel like this is me showing, like, I guess as an artist, kind of like showing a lot of what's been going on in my personal life. I think like it's something that, before in the past, like, as a younger like singer-songwriter, and with the culture here, I guess in the Philippines as well, like it's not necessarily like frowned upon, but it's not encouraged for young people to talk about their relationship history and things like that. But I guess now, like being at this stage, like I feel more confident in talking about it very honestly and descriptively through my music. I think this is really me coming into my own sound as well, because like I guess like back then, like from the last time that we chatted, like I was very much like, I mean, I've always been a pop artist, and I am still making pop music, but I was still kind of figuring out what did Jayda sound like, and I feel like I'm really coming into my own with that. I mean, it never stops, But I guess with this in particular, like I'm really seeing all my influences like come out, and not just in the production aspect or the songwriting, but even in the way that I sing. And I'm starting to see that really come into my own, or I feel like I've come into my own person with this next batch of music that I'm going to be releasing. I mean, right now I've only put out this single, but I don't know, maybe by the time that this interview comes out, I'm not sure if the next one
God damn.
but yeah, no,
That's
there's
what we like to hear.
yeah, no, there's a lot more coming before the year ends, and I'm really excited for it.
You know what's funny, Jayda?
Yeah.
We're kind of seeing, and I think the interesting part of all of this is like the world is to a certain extent seeing your personal growth through your public diary of music.
That's right.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Listening to like your earlier songs, and I remember those Wish Bus performances, and
right.
It's so interesting like to see the evolution of not only the sound but also like the perspective on things, and kind of like how your perspective of love evolves and your perspective of relationships evolve, because you're growing up, you know, you're also being a person. You're not just a singer, you know, you're also a person.
It's commendable, really, the idea of taking personal experiences and putting them into words and music, that it's so open and honest. I've always commended that about you. I think it's some of the things that really set apart your artistry, and how you choose to convey these stories is really what draws you into your music, to be honest.
Well, thank you so much.
Should we go through the lyrics together?
Let's do it.
Honestly, before we do the lyrics, just really quickly, the chord progression is genius. It's so catchy.
The chorus is really catchy.
My God,
thank you.
Absolutely love the fact that it's one of those songs that you listen once and then you're totally hooked into it. Like you're singing the chorus beginning section over and over again. It's fabulous. Well done to that.
Thank you so much.
Here I am at this party, whiskey burning down my throat.
Okay, so it starts with "Here I am at this party, whiskey burning down my throat," which all I have to say about that is, God damn, you're really drinking whiskey like that? You mad woman.
Yeah, like started off strong,
yeah.
You know? No chaser, no nothing, just
straight up whiskey.
And it goes on
the rock.
Says, beating myself up, because it's the only way I know. You're stuck like an unbreakable habit. I guess that's sort of a reference to alcohol. You know, sometimes you build some sort of dependency sometimes. And then he goes on and he says, like a broken record, stuck thinking how we had this. I'm still holding on while you let it all go. Try to play it too cool, apathetic. Who am I kidding? I better drop the act. Down the bitter truth like a shot in one go. Take me through it.
All right. So like, I guess with that first section, like, I guess like you could already tell with this song, I really wanted it to feel not only conversational, but also descriptive and narrative based. Like I really wanted, like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but in the beginning of the song with the intro, you can hear me, like, you can hear a door sound of me like walking in. You can hear like sounds from a party. And actually, fun fact, those are actually real sounds from party videos on my phone of me partying it up with my friends and things like that. And then we kind of just, me and my producer, we put like a mishmash of them all together to create kind of that, like, set up the atmosphere that we wanted with the song. I guess with that first section, like, I wanted to paint the picture of like also kind of feeling like that moment at a party, you know, when, you know, you're going through it. It's like there's almost like a bit of like that feeling of wanting to escape from your emotions, but then all of a sudden when you're alone, like, because like the beginning is meant to kind of paint a picture of me going into the bathroom. And I don't know if you guys have seen the music video.
Yeah, we did.
We have.
Great. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. But yeah, so like you can kind of see me literally like walking into a bathroom, and that's exactly how I'd pictured it even when I was writing the song, even before I'd conceptualized the video. The whole like lyric with beating myself up because it's the only way I know, because I feel like I'm the type of person that when I go through a breakup, like I really do beat myself up over how things like could have been done differently. I'm the type of person that I overthink. I'm a very sentimental person. So I keep going back and replaying things over and over in my head. So I wanted to paint that picture and be really raw and honest with that. And I think it's like something that you do when you unlock that certain level of like subconscious within you with, with alcohol. So yeah. And then with that first like verse with you stuck like an unbreakable habit, like I think that's a really good interpretation of it, with it referencing alcohol. But I think it's just that I wanted it to be plain and simple that habits are hard to break. This person for me was an unbreakable habit. Like it's something that it's something hard to quit. And I guess like it fit the atmosphere, because like with alcohol being an addiction and like all of these things, like all of these vices, like vices aren't just like things, but they can also be people. Because like I believe like love is like a drug in its own way. So I wanted to reference that, and I love that, like I'm still holding on while you let it all go. Like I really wanted there to be that like push and pull, setting up the scene of like I'm the only one holding on here and this person isn't anymore, showing the contrast between me and that person. I really like the way I wrote that second half of the first verse. Try to play too cool, apathetic, who am I kidding, I better drop the acting down, the bitter truth like a shot and we'll go. Like because like I feel like the bitter truth, it's like I really wanted to like play into that like metaphor of alcohol being bitter and downing the truth like a shot, like it's a hard pill to swallow. So it's like I'm downing the alcohol along with my regrets, along with my pain. I know it's like so deep, it's so emo.
So emo is a good word to describe.
No, but sometimes that's the depth of the emotion, and there is no other way of explaining it. It's a great way of artistically explaining that.
What was the bitter truth? Was it that you had to let go and you kind of have to move on, or is it that you just kind of have to live with the memories, let go of the pain, or what's the lesson?
For me, the bitter truth is the fact that I lost this person. Like I referenced that, like this person
coming to terms with the loss. Yeah,
coming to terms. I think that's a lot of what I'm Drunk, I Love You is about. It's like so much of like that inner monologue that goes through your head while you're processing through your emotions under the influence. I feel like the bitter truth is up to interpretation, obviously, because like it can mean a lot of different things for people. But for me, like I always see it as a bitter truth that I always find myself having to come to terms with when I go through a breakup is the fact that this person isn't in my life anymore. Isn't in my life anymore in the way that I wanted them to stay as. And like kind of coming to terms with the fact that relationships change, like, and they can change just like that.
Damn, you're one sweet girl, Jayda. That's so sweet, man.
A sweet girl that downs whiskey on the rock.
That downs whiskey, and then Bale showed me a picture of you with gloves on doing some boxing.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
Not bad.
Not so sweet anymore. No, but like also a fun fact, like the reason why that I also chose whiskey was because actually I think that was like the first actual like liquor that I had ever tried.
What the
and that was the liquor that gave me my first hangover.
Oh gosh, girl.
So I had to use it. And like I guess like with the whole whiskey imagery, like because it is such a strong drink as well. And there's always that saying like whiskey and Coke, like it's such a popular staple in the US.
Okay, so the lyrics then proceeds and says, "But tell me, was it me or was it you? I need answers." I just realized I'm reading these lyrics but in a British accent.
Yeah, I know.
And then I've only heard you say it like how you singing it. Anyways, I need answers. Make me see your point of view. Maybe we can still work this out or not. But my heart won't stop. And then he goes on to the chorus. Here I am at this party, whiskey burning down my throat.
I love that chorus.
Beating myself up because it's the only way I know. It ain't a stupid mistake to be in love. I'm drunk. I love you. I think is there any other thoughts you want to mention with the chorus? I guess the chord progression I'm quite intrigued in, and the production in the chorus, because I think it's the most memorable part of the song.
Really?
And
Thank
also
you.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, that would be the section that if it goes viral, that's what turns into the TikTok, the streams, and if it charts, I think that's the section that people will sing. So drive me through the production process of that part, please.
Yeah, I guess like with the production, I referenced a lot of like, I know one of them, if I remember correctly, was like "Love Me Like You Do" by Ellie Goulding.
That's an old ass song.
I know, it's 2015, right? But I do that a lot. Like to me,
2015.
2015.
Really? It feels like it was 2003, man.
No, that was the year I was born.
Oh my God!
Stop, Jayda! Stop that right now! Stop that! Stop it!
Hey, what year were you born in, bro?
I was born in 2000.
And what? There's more?
What you mean?
My boy, you still going?
What?
That's a compound sentence. You got a compound sentence for age, my boy. Get serious.
No.
The thing is, I mean, she's old as balls, but I'm only joking. She's only 28. but I'm 25. And then when you tell me things like this, like I was born in the 2003s, I'm like,
I was born in 2003.
so
2003 babies, what's up? Yeah, so like with Love Me Like You Do, like I'm the type of person that when it comes to references, it really doesn't matter how old the song is.
No, of course, yeah.
Because like my producer Casey, like he has such a skill and a gift for being able to kind of like, you know, take things from references but not copy them. Like he understands like what I look for when I give references, like when I give like oh I want like the etherealness of this. And I think like with the production process, like I wanted it to feel very like spaced out in a way, if that makes sense. Like the type of music that would be playing, like I don't know if you also noticed in the music video, but I wanted it to feel like something that would play during, like, I don't know if you've seen the series called Euphoria.
Yeah.
Kind of that kind of vibe as well.
I got the reference straight away. Yeah, because like of the isolated shots that you had, there were really, really cool moments where you were like in this crowded place, but obviously you're alone in this thought process, you're alone in your own mind. And I loved how in the production of the video you also see those moments. And I thought of Euphoria as I watched it. Also the haziness of the filtering of the camera, the filter itself, it was so great. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so like I guess with the production process, like, you know, like it started out really, I think we built it around like the piano chords of it, because like that's how the song all started. It was just me and my piano. And that's how like I think piano is personally like my instrument. Like I love to write on the piano. I feel like I'm most comfortable on it, even though I started you know, like writing songs on my guitar, but like I feel like that's like my instrument of choice. So yeah, I think like production wise with the drums, like I wanted it to kind of like there to be that presence of the drums, but then eventually start to build up in the second chorus. So I wanted there to be that progression. I think you notice like in a more technical sense, like you can hear there's a lot of reverb with it. Like I wanted it to feel like you're kind of floating in space almost a little bit, and like kind of that feeling of like drunkenly walking, like I don't know, it paints a picture of like your vision, like you not being able to see or walk straight, like that sort of vibe. But yeah, like I guess like even in terms of the lyrics of like the pre-chorus, it all just boils down to me just like overthinking and just thinking about how I could have done things differently with a breakup like that. So
I always found it interesting. I mean, now that you're out here partying, and now we can talk at a level. Like we don't have to perhaps cut out the party talk. But it's like I was finding, I don't know if you've been clubbing yet or if you've been like out in big cities and to bars and stuff like that. And if you go out all night, there's a moment in like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 2 a.m.
That is pure epiphany.
Where it's like it's a mental state where it's like there is peace and bliss, but there's chaos all around you.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of singers and artists, that's like a moment of inspiration. I feel like moments like those, moments where you can catch a glimpse of something else. It's like the muse talking to you.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at your video, especially in that moment where you're sort of like, it looks like you're surrounded by people, you are surrounded by people, but it felt like you're going through this on your own. To me, that was like, that's like a moment where...
There you go. Yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah. Like, that's exactly I think, like, that feeling of isolation, like being in a crowded room but feeling so alone because of what you're going through, like deep down. Like I feel like, you know, people turn to partying a lot or alcohol just as an escape from their emotions or their problems, and they'll show up for people pretending like everything's fine when it isn't, like deep down. And like you said, there's always that point like wherein, like, you know, you're kind of drinking to have fun, and then all of a sudden you're not. Like you realize, like, I'm not actually having fun because I'm not fine. I'm not okay. And I feel like that's a very human emotion and, like you said, epiphany moment that I wanted
Yes.
to also kind of reference, like not only just in the song but with the video as well. So I'm glad that you guys caught on that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there is a sense of calm in the midst of problems and trouble, and I think once you find that calm that nearly borders on numbness, like you're nearly numb.
Yes.
There is so much, you can funnel so much of that pain and so much of that overthinking. You can siphon it through and in that state, but you kind of have to you're gonna have to put up with the pain and the misery to get to that numbness. And then from there on, what comes after, it's all down to you how you view it, of course. But it is cool that it was so palpable in not only the lyrics but also in the visual representation of it.
Right. Yeah. I think like you guys like got it so perfectly with the picture that I was trying to paint. So that makes me really happy. And that you've, I guess like just like hearing you guys talk about it as well, like you guys really do like understand that moment of like it's almost like we all have different experiences with our personal life and this and that, but it all kind of boils down to we all share that same level of or that moment of clarity on a night out or whatever, you know what I mean? Like we all have had at least one of those moments where we realize these things as we're processing through emotions.
I actually think one of the things that we all have in common, regardless of where we're from and what we do, or whether you're partying and you drink or you don't drink, it's that we all have suffering in common. Whatever stage in our life we're at, we have all suffered to some level of
there's
to
gonna
a certain
be bad
extent.
moments and good moments. And I think that's why it's important. Like I wouldn't be able to put into words that those sort of moments that you were able to put into words in the song. So
and it's accessible. It's not a type of language that is completely inaccessible, because you can listen to great musicians and they go through the same things that we do, but they overpaint it or they overanalyze it, and it's so far-fetched that a lot of people can't relate to it immediately. But in this sense of conversational approach of something that it's so commonly accessible, I find that it's a really good combination of things.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Earlier you were saying, sorry to interrupt, by the way.
No, it's all good.
Earlier you were saying how in like the Philippines you don't feel like it's normal to talk about like or encouraged to like speak about your relationship history and stuff like that. Well, why do you feel like that? Is it like frowned upon?
I think it's like it's a culture thing, I would definitely say, especially like being a young singer-songwriter, like starting out at 14, like because like over here it's always seen as like it's very common for older people to say like to younger people like you should wait till you're like a certain age to be in a relationship so you're mature. And like I understand the wisdom of it because like when or if you do get into a relation when you're older, then like you have more life experience and you're less likely to make mistakes, you know what I mean, or like make bigger mistakes, if that makes sense. But at the same time, like as someone who comes from both cultures, like this is my way of like also being honest in the way, like because like having that like I spent half of my life as well in the US, and like I've always gone back and forth there, and like that spirit of like American culture of like almost an unapologetic honesty with my music, like I was able to incorporate that with the song. But yeah, like to answer your question, I think it's just a commonly kind of known thing, especially I guess for young women as well. Like I you could probably ask like other Filipinos and they would probably agree, but I think like there's obviously that like double standard with women as well, like oh, like you should like remain this like certain level or sense of like purity of like waiting. There's a lot of traditions over here when it comes to love. Like I mean, I know in the US or in the UK, like courting doesn't usually happen. It's like if two people like each other, they date, they become like they become a couple. And then over here it's like a little bit of a different process, and there's nothing wrong with that since like culture stuff. But at the same time, this is like I guess like I didn't really like wanting to be respectful of that, and like being under different circumstances then it was the right move for me to just kind of like keep a little mum about it. But then like with me right now at this age where I feel like it's like much more, it's like it's appropriate, and it's just me keeping it real. I feel like even the landscape with people nowadays and like with social media, a lot of it has changed a little bit though. I would say that despite having that culture, it's also changed because I feel like people look for more authenticity and sort of that like clarity, or like that accessibility with artists nowadays, where it feels right for me to just be honest about it. Obviously not to a point where you're like oversharing, but at the same time, like, you know, I guess this is me putting out my art into the world in its most honest form, because that's, I feel like, what makes it unique in a way, like, because like other people might go through similar experiences but not under or entirely the same circumstances. And I feel like that's what, like, you know, when people ask me that question, like, what do you think like separates you, I think it's a bit of a loaded question, but, and I feel like it's up to people's interpretation, but at the same time, like, that's what I feel like with my music. Like, it's really just a window into me as a person. Like,
well, people,
I wanted
people
to
ask you what
separates
separates you from what
separates me, I guess, like from peers or other artists.
oh okay.
What sets you apart from
You should tell him, Jay, you should tell him, I'm Jayda, that's why it separates me. There's no one else like me.
There's only one me.
There's only one me.
There's only one
the other Jayda, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's all subjective. I mean, because like, you know, like having been in the industry for a couple years now, obviously, and then getting into the more like celebrity aspect of things, I think this is something that would be interesting for me to kind of expound a little bit here right now, is that you know, for the past, you know, 2 years I've been immersed in the celebrity side of things, like getting into acting and things like that, and it's like it's a totally different ball game versus, you know, this is, I feel like this is a time where I'm coming back into more of my artistic roots and who I am as a person. Not that, you know, any of that was really like inauthentic, and believe me, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed, you know, getting into acting and things like that, but this is like, this is Jayda at her core. This is me you know, really just like laying out everything on the table and being like, you know, this is me, love it or hate it, you know?
I also think there is such a level of creative freedom that really sets apart what you have to mold yourself when you're working and on TV, when you're acting, when you're directing. There is a completely different layer to when you get to write down or compose for your own sake.
It doesn't mean it's unauthentic, it's just a different mindset, it's just a different
I feel like it's another layer. Yeah, it's again, we're not unidimensional, and I feel like a lot of our how the audience might think they know us is just one dimension of that artistry, and then once you get to the point where you can put some of that deeper level of understanding within yourself into music, it sets apart what you really want to do, and it's liberating. I think
I would have to agree as well. Like I guess, like, and I think you nailed it with that, Ephra, when you said that it's just a different mindset, because I did find myself, like, I remember when I would get into the acting, you know, more of the acting aspect of my career, like, it literally becomes your life, like, not in a space where I didn't write at all, but it was just so different. Like, my life was literally just like set home, like work home. And it's a spot where I think that's one of the reasons why, like, at this like stage of my career, I've really chosen to focus more on my music. Not to say that if a good acting project or a good script came along, I wouldn't do it. I had to like think to myself and really reevaluate like what my priorities are as an artist and as a person, and it's really this. So like, I feel like with this, like you said, there's that liberating aspect of it where I feel like I'm able to represent my music so well. Like, probably even like I've always been able to kind of like, you know, proudly, you know, wave my music and put it out there. And honestly say, like, I have to thank my previous record label for giving me, you know, that level of like creative freedom as well to express myself. And as someone who was always like, you know, just really trying to find herself sonically and, you know, artistically, but at the same time, like, I'm so thankful that I get to have this like opportunity with my new record label, Republic Records, Philippines. With them, I'm able to like really showcase like where I'm at as an artist right now, and they're really 100% behind my vision as well with what I want to achieve with this new level of music, and just like the regions I'd love to target with it. So
Republic is with Zach. Zach is also with Republic.
Yes,
and,
that's right. He's my label mate. Yeah.
I think like the boys from Vision.
That's right. I think
that's right. Yeah.
So it opens up as well some opportunities to write as well, and maybe get exposed to
feature.
get exposed to kind of the way they operate and they work, and it's always good to be involved in a label with that allows you to have that sort of creative freedom. That's always one of my biggest like worries as like, say you're a fan of an artist, right, and then you see them signed to a new label or something like that, then you're like, fuck, I hope they maintain the capability to choose their sound, and because at the end of the day, it's like a label's job is also to help you garner new fans and help you promote your music
and help you redirect to a certain extent.
But if you can keep that creative will, if you like, all throughout your career, that's a huge win, because it allows you to express yourself actually what you're actually feeling, and this new evolution of who you are, without thinking too much of marketability and all this other stuff. That's their job.
That's what they do.
And like I think you got it spot on. I think like you said, Waleska, it's like with redirection for me, like in a lot of ways, like I feel like this is like a redirection in that sense. Like, you know, people like new fans of mine that I garnered this year, like they probably know me a certain way. They know me as like Zoe from Teen Clash or this and that, and you know, like with this like redirection of mine, it's really showing like, okay, well, this is like where I feel like I really want to be at this stage of my career. Like I'm at a space of like, obviously like I'm not where I aspire to be completely, but I feel like I'm on the right trajectory in that sense, with the right people who like really see that vision with me, and they understand it to a point where they know what it'll take to help me get there.
That's right.
And obviously they obviously it involves a lot of factors and a lot of luck, but I just feel really thankful with my current team. Like they're so supportive of it, like not that, you know, people that I worked with in the past weren't, but like in such a way that their level of understanding of my music and my artistry is so deep, to a point where they really do let me kind of call the shots creatively in the way that I see fit in that sense. And like you said, because they look at it less from like they've always said, like I actually just came from a meeting from my team, and they told me like at the end of the day, what's important is Jayda's comfortable with her artistry and what she's putting out, because it'll translate into the music at the end of the day, which is what we're selling. And like as a label, like it's a team effort in finding the right avenues for the music, and that's really what it's all about. But the way that I just keep on creating is the fact that I'm given the space and the platform to be able to do so in such a way where it feels really authentic to me.
You know, early in the year when you're working with Teen Clash, and you were doing a bunch load of like press tours and promotions for the show and stuff.
You did a lot of ass up. You did actually write one of the songs as well, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
I know you've been speaking about Teen Clash for the whole year, but how was that experience, acting at that level and living the TV lifestyle?
Acting level 1, I like it. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. I think that's it's come to a point where I have, you know, so much more respect for the craft after having gone through it personally. It's a different art form that requires a different level of like emotional commitment to it, and I feel like I've further appreciated a lot more. I feel like it's even made me a better artist and songwriter in person, because like I understand emotions differently right now after, you know, having to understand the emotions of a character that, you know, I've been in the works with for the past like couple of years. So like I signed on for that project like end of 2020.
Wow.
And like it came out this year, so like I was attached for it for 3 years. So like it's been a real journey with it, and honestly like I really enjoyed it. I'm so grateful to the people that I was able to work with, because like these were people who really just like they wanted to see me, you know, succeed and fly and like flourish as an actress. And I was really fortunate to have a lot of help in that department, you know, preparing for the role. And, you know, it just so happened as well, like in a lot of ways, like people say that the role was something that I could really resonate with, because like my character, she was a singer-songwriter as well, she was a musician as well, and she was very much like me. I think if anything, the challenge for me was, how do I separate myself from her, because she and I were like so similar. And it's crazy how like a lot of her and what she had been through actually mirrored a lot of my life and my personal life like at the time. So like, you know, like it was such a fulfilling thing to have gone through that process and really like seen it through and to the end of it. And like I'll always like I just feel nothing but like gratitude to have been able to have that opportunity to play that role as a first role. Like at least, you know, now like when I look back on like my acting career, like how it's going, like when people ask me like what was your first role, like, and I can always look back on it like proudly, even though like, you know, it was, you know, the process wasn't perfect, like it's very difficult. And I think I also, there were a lot of moments where I struggled, and I thought to myself, there was a lot of pressure, like, you know, playing my first role as a lead role, like, you know, thinking like, am I meant to be here, like can I actually do this? There was a lot of that. There was a lot of like the self-doubt talking for a lot of moments, but then, you know, I got through it. So yeah, like I had fun. And, you know, like I know that you were saying that, oh, you've been talking about it all year, but like it's always like when people bring it up, like it's a fun topic that I look back very fondly on. So
I'm glad. How do you cope with we were talking about this off air, my sister and I, like a few days ago, like you know, you just mentioned that you were thrown kind of in the celebrity world, in the acting world, and now full on Jayda also as an artist, where you feel super comfortable in that sense. And it's only been, you know, a few years at that level, I guess, since you mentioned it. How are you coping with like the whole stress, expectations,
the mental
pressure?
aspect
Yeah, the
of
mental
it.
aspect of it. Or what do you do to sort of keep yourself in check, kind of?
you know, that's a really good question, because like, you know, if you'd asked me, and maybe you might have asked me this like a couple of years ago, and I would have said like, oh no, it's like I don't really see it as pressure, like I just feel more like challenged by it. But now, like honestly speaking, very candidly, as a young adult, yes, I do feel that pressure very much. I do.
Naturally,
I
yeah,
really
of
do. Like
course.
it's there. Like I'm not even gonna lie. See, that's like that would be the showbiz way of saying like, oh, I don't feel any pressure. But like I feel like at the time it was because like, you know, being younger, like I guess you feel like, oh, you don't realize, like I guess like, not that you're running out of time or anything like that, but like I guess the pressure to be able to succeed and reach certain levels of your goals before you're this age, and that like those thoughts start to come in a lot more when, you know, like me, and just having just entered my 20s and just like things like that. Honestly, when I go through it, like I as a person, like I've also discovered myself in different ways, you know, throughout feeling all that pressure, not, you know, having entered this kind of like stage in my career. Like honestly, like it's so helpful for me to talk about it to people. I feel like that's like one of those things, like I talk about it to people who get it, who also go through the same thing as me, and it's always so helpful. But at the same time, I also like stay in touch with people that may not necessarily be in that, you know, field, but at the same time, or even just like, let's say my producer, like I feel like he's one of my closest confidants when it comes to stuff like that, because like it, in that way, I'm also able to channel it into the music. And I feel like that's also how I handle it. Like whenever I feel like that, like I write songs, like that's really, it's like it's almost like it's therapy for me in a way as well. I've also tried actual therapy. I've tried it once, and I enjoyed it. I felt it like it was a very enlightening experience for me. I think it's like, you know, being kind of, or remembering your core values and what you're rooted in, like that definitely helps. And going back to the root of, why are you doing all of this, like at the end of the day? Because like it's so easy to get caught up in all of it, and oh, like the numbers of it, or the pressure of like, you have to be like this, like you can't be like, you gotta be able to maintain this certain level and this and that. It's so easy to get caught up in all of it. And I admit that there have been moments where I have, and it's been really tough. Like, people don't know it, but like I've fought battles of, you know, internal battles of like that on my own, and I just don't publicly talk about it, because especially being in the celebrity sides of things, it's not something that's really talked about. But then just me being candid about it as a person, having to fight all of those things like in your head, it's just really trying to surround yourself with the right people and trying to remember why you do this in the first place. Like,
I think
I feel like that's what keeps me rooted and like still on this trajectory, on this path to this day, you know.
Yeah, I think that's honestly that's one of the hardest aspects of this careers, creative careers, whatever it is that you do, because the expectations and the environment can be so influential sometimes that it definitely does take you away from the reasons, the root beliefs of what it is that you were looking for. And we all get caught up. I think it's all part of that natural progression, that there are expectations or whatever you do, but there's also, you kind of have to remind yourself in a retrospective kind of like sitting with your emotions kind of thing, where you are truly honest and earnest in the beliefs of, why do I enjoy this? Is it truly because I want it? Is it truly because my environment has dictated something? Or you know, it's I feel related to your little moments of struggle there, because I believe that a lot of creatives go through this, regardless of the level they're at. Obviously in the public eye it's 10 times more difficult, because you really cannot talk about it so openly. But you need a pillar, somebody or someone that you can really openly and honestly talk about these things and help you work through it. So
it's really cool that it's you for your producer really helps you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You can discuss this stuff, because it helps in the authenticity of the creation as well.
It really does. Like, I feel like, you know, not just like with my career, but with my personal life as well, being able to open up to someone, you know, in depth and feel so comfortable and at ease in doing it. Like, a lot of, like, honestly, with my creative process, a lot of these songs were really started with us having a conversation. Like, it always starts like that. I feel like some of my best work has come from that. I've walked into sessions less of like, okay, here's what I want to do. You know, like, I do have something in mind. Like, sometimes like I'll have a concept or just like an emotion or a feeling, but then I'll walk into it and just think to myself, I'll surrender myself to the process, because at the end of the day, I know that it's going to create something. Like, what we're going to talk about, it's going to become something, and I'm going to make sure of it. You know, it's like you said, like, it's something that I also find strength in. Like, I feel like in a way it's also my superpower. Like, I'm able to turn into, like, I'm turning my pain, I'm turning my experiences into these, you know, little like footnotes or like little entries of my life. Like, turn like this is like my my, I want to say gift. Yeah, like a diary that I'm putting out into the world of like
a journal.
Yeah, like a journal of like, when people want to get to know me, well, listen to my music. Like, you'll hear all about it. Like, that's how, like, that's what I want to achieve as well with my music. Like, I want it to be so that people feel like they know me because of it. Like, it always makes me happy when I meet people and they tell me like, I know you because of your song, or I know you because like your music has touched me in this way, or it helped me through this certain time of my life. It inspired me to become better at this and that. Like, that's always such a refresher, and that also encourages me in terms of what I do, you know. And I feel like you were so spot on when you said that, you know, this is a struggle that a lot of creatives go through, that no matter what state you are in, because like when you're in this industry of like creativity, like there's that pressure of like, is what I'm putting out into the world even good enough? Like, is it good enough? Is it? And then like you get caught up in all of the metrics of it all, the statistics of like, you need to have this amount of numbers and so people will notice you, or you need to have this and that. And it's like, sometimes I think about it in such a way where it's like my younger self, like, she never thought about that. She always just thought it was it always goes back to when I think of my younger self. It was always like, I don't care what I have to go through or what I have to do, but I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna do it because like sheer passion and willpower. And sometimes it's always good to be around people who remind you of that and who tell you like, the struggle, it's all part of the journey.
It is.
And it's like but it's a lot easier said than done. I mean, having all of it, I talk about this right now. We're talking about all of this, but then there'll always be those moments as a human being where you just kind of think to yourself, and it's like, despite knowing all of this information, it's like, no, I'm sad, I'm struggling, I'm feeling pressured, I feel overwhelmed. And like that's something that I also want people to know, is that I, as a person, like because of me being in the celebrity side of things, it's so easy for them to think, oh, being an actress, being like a singer, like it's like a lot of people say, oh, it's your talent, like it's easy like that. No, it's not. It's like it comes with a different level of like discipline and experiences that not a lot of people will really understand unless you've been through it. But at the same time, like just as a human being, I think maybe people sympathize with it a little bit more, or are able to understand it in a different level in the sense that, listen, like if people like may feel overwhelmed with their jobs, we can also feel overwhelmed with ours, because a lot of it is putting yourself out on the line. Like it's so much of that, like opening yourself up to people's comments and their opinions. Like it's mentally taxing. Like like people might think like you get up on a mic and that's it, like, oh, you're paid this amount, like you've got it good. And like to a certain extent, because like other people go through like physical struggles in it, and it's difficult. But at the same time, this industry is not for the weak-hearted or the weak-minded. Like you really have to have a strong sense of self, and because if not, it's so easy to just get caught up in the craziness of it all.
We've all seen it. We've all seen it destroy people. The so many industries is sometimes it's too much for so many. I remember like growing up, we did a lot of television when we were growing up, and we saw a ton of guys that we stopped doing it because I went ahead and I started doing more like sporting pursuits, and Valeska went and did theater. But a lot of our friends, they kept going, and they're still doing television, and in the US and here in South America or in the UK. And they've been like 20 years doing, acting or TV or music. And, we started when we were 5 years old, right?
Yeah.
And so did they, like kids TV shows and stuff like that. And sometimes I wonder when we speak again, it's like if they wouldn't have been in the industry for that length amount of time, especially in those earlier years, would they have come out the same way like that they have now? Because you can tell us that's an industry kid, or like that's someone who grew up in the music world since they were since they were like us, but they never took that break.
And we've always talked about how much it changes a person's perspective on how to take on challenges, I think.
Yeah, because the industry is not real life. Like there's the celebrity world and all that. That's not real life. Like real life, this is real. Like you just talk, you hang out with people, you go to a party and you don't, you have a drink, or you walk your dog, or you walk. That's real life,
But when you're caught up in the industry, it's the set, is the people of the press, is the photographers, and the next upcoming product that you have to endorse, and the numbers and who's calling, what are the live shows looking like, and then you kind of forget, like I said earlier, you kind of forget the root reason of why is it that you enjoy this thing so much. And
perhaps it's a bit personal, but you did kind of answer it already. But in terms of maybe not numbers, but accomplishments, like what's the reason why you're doing this? Like when we look back, maybe we sit down 10 years from now and we're having a little drink, you and I and Bale, discussing all of this, what would you say would mean, okay,
you've made it,
I'm successful? Not perhaps you've made it, because you still probably will have other aspirations. Like sometimes we sit down and do podcasts with artists from Korea or Japan or the Philippines, and they've been at it for like 30 years. And platinum records and number ones, and then we ask them like, what the like we had Apple the AP, Apple the AP from Black Eyed Peas, and we were just chatting about it. I'm like, dude, what the else do you want? Like you've achieved everything. And he's like, well, I just love music. Like I just genuinely love music. So I get that point of view, But for him, his objective was quite awesome. But what would be yours? Like when you look back and you look at maybe what you've accomplished, what would mean Jayda's done something cool and you'd be happy with your accomplishments?
Honestly, like I feel like as an artist, like we are very self-critical in nature. And like even if you do something good, like there's always that question like, okay, like what's next? It's always about that. And I feel like, but that's the life of an artist, and that's how you know that you're gonna keep going in your career, because like, you know, it's nonstop learning. It's nonstop wanting to achieve things, because the minute that you feel like I'm done achieving things, that's the end of your career. But at the same time, like for me, I feel like me being able to touch people from all around the globe, like as much as possible, like as many people around the globe as possible, would mean like a certain level of success to me. Like I feel like, because that's where my music is also meant to, well, this is a personal thing as an artist, like I've always believed that like my music, something that I've wanted to transcend not just, I guess, the Philippines, but you know, the rest of the world as well. Like hearing people like you guys, or just like other people that from other countries that have listened to my music, like that's always like such a big thing for me, because you know, I write my songs in English, and the reason being like it's a universal language, and that's where I want to go, which is why I also signed with Universal Music Group. It's all about getting my music around.
Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, so I think that would mean a lot to me. Like, I mean, obviously I can get into the specifics of it, of like personal aspirations of wanting to perform big in big venues, sell out shows like that. And because at the end of the day, like I feel like my core is also in live music, live performing. Like I feel like it's also where I thrive in, apart from, you know, the creative process of it. Like it brings me a different level of joy. And I feel like it goes back to that. Like sometimes, like when I feel myself feeling down, like I'll watch a video of myself like singing live, or I'll listen to some of my music, and I'll have that be the reminder of why I love what I do. Because like I can honestly say, like I've felt different types of joy in my life from different things, from different people, but none of them can quite replicate the feeling that I get with making music and performing music. And I feel like it'll be me till the day I die. Like I know it's like such a strong statement, but it's so true. Like no matter what, like I'm sure like there are points where you get burnt out and you feel like, wow, is this really meant for me? But like if I'm being completely honest and true to myself with my core, like that's what makes Jayda who she is her music, and creating it more so. Like I mean, I love music, I love listening to music, appreciating music of other artists, but like creating, it's the thing of like creating something out of nothing. And or you know, creating something out of something that I experienced, whether that be really something that's really shitty, or you know, something that's really good. Like there's always a song for that. Like I wanted to be so that, you know, when as I get further in my career, there's a song almost for everything. Like, I feel like an artist who does such a good job at that is Taylor Swift. Like, she has a song for anything. It's like, you want a song that for you and your girls? Yeah, she has a song for that. Oh, you going through this specific type of breakup where you were the one who did the person wrong, or this person did you wrong in this kind of way. There's a song for that. And that's what I love to do, like as a concept-based songwriter, because it's all about the concept. It's about it's different iterations of it. Like with IDILY, like I wrote that song. Basically, it's really just a song about heartbreak. I have other songs about heartbreak, but it's in a different level. It's in a different state of my life. And as I keep going through life, I'm gonna keep creating music.
Correct. I think there's that's a hack about being a songwriter. I definitely agree.
Taylor Swift has like 1,000 songs, so of course she's gonna have like a song for every scenario. A song for having coffee, she has a song for that.
Drives, coffee at midnight.
Definitely.
Yeah, pretty much.
There is such beauty in the understanding of creativity in the miscellaneous moments of life. Like the mundane also captures a lot of beauty, and there is a lot of inspiration in the everyday life. And I think that is a very commendable goal to have, in terms of like, continue to keep gathering experiences in order to put them onto more music.
Dude, you have like so many more like new things that you're gonna experience in your own personal life that are gonna spark so much, so many emotions and so many awesome songs. Like I mean, I'm sure you've been traveling around, but I presume the more you travel around, that's probably gonna ignite things. The more people you meet, the more stories you hear. Just years, the years you add onto your life will add immense amount of creative value,
As a 28-year-old person, can I just say, don't let yourself be too chased away by the fact that, oh, my 20s, I have to make most out of it. Take them as they come. Take them as they come, because a lot of beauty comes from just being present in these moments and not having to chase away the clock, I think. Jayda, you have been absolutely phenomenal today.
Yeah, and Jay, you got a gift. So
thank you.
Just the more time progresses and the more you keep, I guess, paying tribute to that gift by writing and composing and improving and the things that you think perhaps you have to improve on, more and more great music will come out.
Definitely.
And it's always awesome to sit down with you, because also you're such a sweet woman. Like I don't think you have like a bad word to say about anyone. Like you're such a nice. Look, you're
I
like,
have songs about that though.
Can't wait.
Maybe that's part of the new era.
I love. Let's get Jayda rage. I love that.
I do hope that the day comes where we can all have a drink and we bring you here to London and
sit down together.
No, I would love to. If you guys are gonna be the first people I hit up when I go to London, like I mean, honestly, that's one of my goals as well. I'd love to go there and like even like play a show there or something. But even just to visit, like I'm definitely gonna hit you guys.
If you come as a tourist, we'll take you around to the best spots. Don't worry about that.
Sounds good.
I do hope that again in this next upcoming years we get to see you, but you're out here playing a show, and then maybe you have a Europe tour and the US tour.
That would be so cool.
It would be awesome. and would be there all the way to support. Because I genuinely think that's why I like sitting down with you for a few hours, because I think you're new blood. I think you're a new gen. I think you have that fire, which I like. It's not only attractive, but it's also like it's contagious. So I think a lot of other artists will like find it attractive. They'll try and copy that. They'll try and see other stuff. Oh, look, this girl is like out here doing press, and this girl's also writing her own songs.
She directs her own music videos.
She writes, she promotes her own stuff, and it's like that's, I think, especially now in the internet era, that's what you need.
Yeah.
So you won't surprise me when you come out here doing tours. I'll be like, I knew it.
That would be awesome. I love it. Also, can I just say, like, it's so interesting how we started out as a lyric breakdown and then we just completely
Well, it's
different.
a podcast, Jayda. It's gonna happen.
Listen, this is what happens. When we have great conversations, you just derail whatever we want to talk about. We'll talk about it.
Exactly. I know. Listen, and I love it.
Thank you so much. Honestly, if you have anything else to say to your fans, any dates or anything that we should be on the lookout for.
Anything you're promoting? I mean, obviously, apart from I'm Drunk, I Love You, or anything you'd like to say, this is the time.
Yeah, of course. Well, I don't know when this is going to come out, but maybe by the time it does, people will finally know that on October 14, I'm actually gonna be a part of Zach Tabudlo's show. Like really soon, like I'm one of his, or I'm his guest for that show, so it's open to the public, so please do come and support. But maybe I don't know if like this will be out by the time that this video comes out. Well, but anyway,
you let me know. You let me know when you want us to post it, because we can post it either this week or the following week, or you let me know.
Either way. Well, yeah, but then so there's that, and of course like IDILY, which I heard just the music video hit 100,000 views already, which is pretty cool. So thank you all for that. And I just want to say thank you, of course, to all my fans for all of your efforts. Like they also like they rented a billboard in Times Square recently to promote IDILY, which was absolutely crazy. And I love them all so much, and I really appreciate them, and especially the ones as well who have not only followed me as a musician but as an actress, but who are still with me on this journey, me going back into my roots as an artist. Like I really appreciate you all. I love you all, and there's much more music and content to come before the year ends. Dare I even say, maybe at the end of October, there's something for you guys to look forward to, and for you, well, something for you guys to hopefully check out and react to.
Yeah,
of course, we'll have it in the list.
We have another podcast actually coming up where we'll be checking out some of the new releases from the Philippines.
Sweet.
So we'll definitely put you in there.
Cool. Yeah.
That actually, funny enough, Zach is gonna be on that one. So
is that so? Though that's cool. Yeah.
We'll check out his new song there, and so we'll definitely, if yours is out by that time, we'll definitely put you in there too.
Well, yeah, I'm a big fan of his music. Like, I mean, I'm a fan. Like, as much as like he's a label mate, but at the same time, like I, as an artist and a fan, like I have so much respect for him, and he's killing it out there.
Yeah,
right now.
definitely. Yes.
And so so those are like things like for you guys to look forward to, and just like, you know, I guess like little like special pieces of content that I'm really excited to bring out as well, because like I was just actually in the US for almost like 2 months, and I was shooting a lot of like content over there related to the single, and obviously like I actually shot 2 music videos there. So yeah, spoiler, you guys are gonna be hearing and watching something soon. Nice. There's that. And yeah, of course, like to everyone watching, just like follow me on my socials to know at Jayda on Instagram, Jayda Avanzado on Twitter, and my YouTube channel, just Jayda, and my TikTok, Jedi Jayda, for like updates on me and this journey. But yeah, thank you so much to both of you, Waleska and Ephra. Like, it's always such a pleasure talking to you. This honestly made my day. So, yeah,
because you're the sweetest.
No, you're so sweet. Can I just say as well, like, I really appreciate like how much you guys like really do like your research, and you know, you stay up to date on whoever you interview, whoever you have a chat with, and it means a lot as artists to feel not only heard but seen, you know, by people like you guys. So
stop the flattery. You're too sweet. Stop it.
Like, it's fairly easy, Jayda, because we like you and we like your stuff. So it's not like doing research. It's just like, oh look, Jayda's done this. Oh look, Jayda's released that.
Hey,
you know,
I love it. I love it. I mean, I see you, Waleska, like when you like my posts and stuff like that. So.
I'm there, girl. I'm there. Number one fan.
You're there. You're there.
Notice? You have millions.
Yeah, I do. Of course.
Listen,
of course I
so
do. It pops up in my notes.
So good to catch up. And again, I can't wait to hear more about the new project. And hit me up whenever you want to come back into the podcast. You know, the doors are always open.
Absolutely. Whenever you want to promote anything, or I mean, I do hope that maybe even this year, you keep doing, you start doing some live shows and bigger shows and stuff like that. Because I also do agree with what you said of, I think ironically enough, I think you're more of a live artist than a studio artist.
I do agree with that.
I just think most of the world is yet to see that bit.
I agree.
But I'm
exciting future.
I know, it's exciting.
So I really do hope that we get to see you in live shows, and even if it's just in the Philippines to begin with and in the US and stuff like that, fantastic. But I really do hope to see you on stage and shouting your name and singing your songs.
That would be so, that's always the goal, honestly. For me, it's like I really like, as an artist, like one of, you know, those things, like I guess those moments that I love to experience is like, you know, hearing a crowd sing back the lyrics to a song that you
what a moment
wrote. It's always that. Like I feel like at the end of the day, like if I think about what's at the top of my list as well of like things that I'd love to experience in my life, it would probably be that. You know, just to like quickly insert, I don't think I was able to mention it, but of course, like to everyone watching, like stream IDILY on Spotify, of course, Apple Music, and the music video out now on my Vivo channel, Jayda Vivo. And yeah, check it out. Like directed by me and Bianca Katbagan.
Here I am at this party, whiskey burning down my throat.
It was something that I'm really proud of as well. It's first time shooting a music video in the US, so it was pretty cool, and like me getting back into my directorial work as well, and as you know, conceptualizing for that music videos. And if you like, I mean, if you like the series Euphoria, I think you might be into it. So
LA, you shot it in?
Yeah, I shot it in LA.
Yeah. Well,
cool.
Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jayda. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.